people who are marginalised in our society. And now that David is here, the Canadian TAFE is going to have their sign language advert being removed from being taught. So one of our students on the Canadian TAFE, Laurie, is going to come up here and talk a little bit about Canadian TAFE. And some of these other TAFEs, the smaller ones, they're the ones that are going to be completely wiped off the map.
And the response by, like, you know, big European banks, these kind of things, to this election was like, oh, well, if the Greek people want to elect a government that are going to carry out some sort of collective, hang on, my head, I'm trying to carry through this kind of, oh, what they kind of shows, like, just like in the 30s when the economic crisis, the capitalist having this swing by like democratic directions, they had about dictatorships.
Communications technology area. And we're going to lose six teachers from our course. The film and media area is going to be axed. 2 of my teachers, one of them is a film expert. He goes in the the 30th of June. But not only that, the whole hospitality department has been axed as of the 30th of June this year. So all those people who are going out to learn skills in hospitality, they'll probably end up in Bayous prisons. Maybe being cooks, making meals. And as a person who's gone back to TAFE, one thing that TAFE has helped me with is that I'm dyslexic. And how many people who get marginalised because of their disabilities, and as the Australian people have been cut totally. It wasn't for the TAFE teachers, their caring attitude and help for me, even to get up here to speak is hard. And already, our own teachers who are permanent staff members at Camden are saying, one of them, expert in Photoshop, I'm going back to civil engineering. Because my course will not exist. They actually have at least one semester in this course. So what's going to happen afterwards?
Broadcast and then started just broadcasting strikes across the country and sort of, you know, so they were able to actually make their own media that's not able to sort of release those sorts of things, like spread their own messages.
Jails. But there's not any building apprentices. I spoke to a building apprentice the other day. He's not sure what will happen. You can't go and learn building skills at a university. You've got to go to a TAFE. The private providers do not provide for people who are apprentices. If they do, it's usually a simple deal, and they end up on the scot anyway of unemployment.
I think as well the thing is that you can't just sort of like allow attacks on people's life as a public education just to go
Today is a
without
good
any
turnout,
opposition.
but we can't just turning out. We need
I mean, obviously,
maybe women to march on Bayou's office.
strong enough
And tell them,
that would require like a much bigger movement, you know, it's going to require the teachers to go on strike, it's going to require a lot more.
that's what it's like. Do not go be immobilised by these rich bastards who think they can do it all. Bayou's one of the richest people in Parliament. His family is worth $500,000, or $500 million, $500 billion, I should say.
Take it all! Right!
Thank you for interjecting.
You can't blame me.
Thank you for your time. And I hope more people come in for further rallies in July after the semester break. Just going to have another real quick chant. I think another one that we had at the last rally that we went to was about Shakespeare.
solidarity with the staff here, and I know there's a number of staff that are here today, because TAFE students, once their courses are cut, or if they can't afford to go to TAFE next year, the next stop is the unemployment market settling as well. So I think TAFE students know that we're looking down the barrel of unemployment too, once these cuts come into it. Absolutely. So, at the rally the other week, one of the chants we had was students and staff say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Students and staff say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Students and staff say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Students and staff say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Students and staff say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Say no cuts, no cuts. No way. Speaking of that stuff, we do have Margarita who's going to give us a quick talk. She's from VU. She's come all the way from VU with a number of students. So please, let's make it up.
And I teach at Victoria University TAFE. I teach the Diploma of Community Services work and the Diploma of CD course. And I have taken the time to come here in my lunch break because I think it's really critical that students take action. So I guess when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. I really want to congratulate all of you students for coming out here today and taking action for your future. These are the biggest cuts ever in the history of TAFE provision in Victoria. Massive cuts against public education. As we speak, TAFE CEOs, heads of schools, getting together and they need to discuss how they're starting to implement these cuts. We're talking here about redundancies. We're talking here about course cuts. We're talking here about fee hikes. There's a very high chance that a lot of the diploma courses in the various different TAFEs will increase from something like $2,500 to $4,000 to $5,000 a year. I have got a bunch of students here today and I'm extremely proud that my students have come out to take action for their future. And not just their future, but the future of all ordinary Australians here. And international students, I might add. I would love to be able to invite you all into my classroom. My classroom is a smorgasbord of ethnicity, of ages and gender. It's a beautiful, beautiful cross-section of Australian society. We've got refugees in our class. We've got single parents. We've got international students. We've got families. We've got a massive range of people in my class. The majority of these students will not be able to come back and study because their right to participate equally in society by accessing public education will be taken away. So let's not forget, however, though, that these big attacks that Brumby, that they use actually imposing on us have actually been initiated by the previous Labor government, the Brumby government. Through the Skills Reform Victoria, the process of privatising our public education started. And what does privatisation actually mean? What it means is that our taxpayers' money is being diverted into the private pocket of individuals to make money. This is what privatisation means. I have worked previously at 2 private colleges. One of them collapsed. None of us got our superannuation paid out, and the students were left on the scrap heap after paying exorbitant fees. The other college I worked for, the conditions were shocking. No staff member was on a permanent contract. We were all casual, and the students again had to pay very high fees for bad courses. These colleges, the majority of them have no library. There's no special support for students who might be in need. None of them exist because the prime motivation is to make money. And this is what the current government is planning to do. So we need your challenges in front of us. We've got issues of climate change to deal with. We've got a global financial crisis. And what do we see happening? An attack on ordinary people. If we don't have the right to have education, to upskill, we cannot challenge the current status quo, which is not working in our favour. So I'd like to quote somebody who's been long dead, Oscar Wilde. He's one of my favourites. Most students already know that. He said long time ago that disobedience is the original virtue of humanity. Through disobedience and rebellion, real progress for humanity has been made. And I look at all of you here. If it wasn't for the rebellion and the disobedience of thousands, millions of people in the past, most of us women wouldn't be here because we wouldn't have the right to get education. Most of the working class wouldn't be here because we've been working in the mines 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So cheers to rebellion and let's continue it. Let's look at the example of the Canadian students. For 3 months now, these students have been battling fee increases against their government. For 3 months, hundreds of thousands have got together. And what we need here today is to start thinking about how we can create a united student movement to challenge the attacks coming down on us. Let's get together, students and staff. Let's invite the entire community because it's our future, our joint future. So continue the action at your campus, in the streets, tackle, and I mean tackle in different ways, however you want to. Tasmania, the education minister, have a go, make your voices heard, rebel. And to finish off, let's just have a nice little chant. Students united will never be defeated. Students united will never be defeated.
Students united will never be defeated. Students.
Fight you lose. Thank you.
And I think it's really important that, as you said before, the students show solidarity with teachers here today because, we're all going to pay for these cuts and teachers are going to pay with their jobs, which is totally disgusting. And, I think we should be pretty condemning of Ted Bailey and the Liberals for sending so many teachers to the unemployment queues. And essentially in doing so is going to send heaps of TAFE students to unemployment queues as well. Yay! Well, we'll quick keep moving things along. I hope we got a representative from the RMIT Student Union. I was wondering if you were around. From RMIT Student Union, RMIT.
Hi everyone. Anyone here from RMIT? Okay. Well, my name is Shauna Payton. I'm the women's officer at the RMIT University Student Union. So, RMIT students who are just passing by can stop and listen because I will tell you how this will affect you, these cuts. I'm not going to give you imaginary figures, so I'm just going to tell you the facts. So before that, I sit and have sat at your university appeals committee, so if any of you are being expelled from the university, I sit there with your head of schools and say, no, these students should stay and should be given a second chance. I also sit at the programs and policy committee, which is really important in these tax cuts because all the courses that are going to be sacked from this university is going to pass through this committee. And it's really sad to sit down at the committee and look at the courses that you are doing now. None of them will be continuing. Well, most of them will not be continuing next year. I also sit at their student experience advisory committee where we advise the students to advise the vice chancellor of this university on what to do with the mandatory student unionism at RMIT University. So that's enough about me. So several weeks ago, before the budget was announced, the president of this university, substantial and will have an avoidable effect. So there's no escaping these cuts. So this is from the president of the university herself. So this is what it will mean to the university students and to the TAFE students here at RMIT University. So guys, instead of you walking out straight to the cafeteria, can you just listen for a bit? Our budget, our RMIT budget, is going from $70 million to $50 million. That is nearly 1/3 cut straight out. So that's 1/3. So this cut pushes RMIT TAFE from being classified as public, and this pushes RMIT TAFE into being classified as private. So by next year, RMIT TAFE is no longer public, it will be private. So the rates that we can afford to pay the teachers and your tutors will be reduced. So this is coming from the president of the university herself. So a lot of the tutors here will be sacked. Because a lot of our tutors here are awesome and they teach, and a lot of the TAFE students here tell me that they do not want any of these teachers sacked. So if you've got a TAFE friend, please let them know. Also, these cut fundings means that we lose grants for building maintenance. So it's going to be harder to get lockers. Like most of the students don't have lockers now. So this whole building, we're going to have less maintenance on this building. So this is a massive shame. So the first one that I talked about, the budget cut and the tutors cut as well. So this is going to start at semester 2. So as soon as July kicks in, we're going to be reducing the number of hours, teaching hours here at RMIT University. So I have students here, I have students at the cafeteria and the student campus shrugging and saying, like, it's just a $500 increase. So, why should we bother? No, this is not a $500 increase here at RMIT University. Students here are already paying up to $8,000, and these are Commonwealth supported students doing associate degrees and diplomas here at RMIT TAFE. They're already paying that much. And with that increase, so a lot of you are holding our concession card holders. So we're going to reduce the number of students who will be subsidized, and that is a massive shame. So on top of this TAFE students, by semester 1 next year, you will be charged an extra $263, which will be coming straight out from your pocket with the compulsory student unionism. Yeah. So, and this is incremental. So the university is currently examining the impacts of this cut to the school. So if you have any problems, and if you don't want any of your courses cut or sacked, please see the student union. And so please tell your friends what's going on, and especially the ones who don't care. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is get the word out and make sure every student knows exactly what's at stake here, because these cuts are going to hit everyone. It's if your course isn't cut, the fees are going to hit you with doubling of fees. So, I think one of the chants we're going to have to shell out so everyone here on this campus can hear us is when TAFE cuts are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! TAFE cuts are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack, you stand up, fight back! Awesome. We're nearly the end of the speakers, but just one last speaker before we decide what we'll do. We've got Meredith from VU is going to come up and give a few words as a VU student, as a TAFE student as well. So.
I'm Meredith. I'm studying at Victoria University. I'm really nervous. For me, these TAFE cuts, I can barely afford my education costs as it is. If my fees go up potentially to $5,000 or $6,000, I probably won't be able to finish my diploma next year, which is a really devastating thought. I don't know what I'll do or where I'll be. I'm a disability worker and a youth worker, and I'm studying community development. And and I see all the time how important TAFE is to marginalised people. Most people choose to go to TAFE because they need contact hours with their teachers, they need classroom time, and if you're pushed into private institutions, you don't get that classroom time. And like, not only that, private institutions, you can get your phone in 9 months, and so then the industry suffers as well because TAFE's private institutions take unskilled and uneducated workers. TAFE needs to spend $17 million on building a children's court in Brooklyn. He spent $17 million on a program needs a children's court. Or any jails for that matter. So, I'm going to leave it there.
One more chance that we've got to say is it's about the prisons that the Liberal Party is building, which is lock up the Liberals, throw away the key, we won't stop till TAFE is free.
They're well
Tell the government themselves what we think of these cuts. under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Hey, it's under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Is under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
TAFE is under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
TAFE is under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When TAFE is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
No ifs, no buts, no taste cuts. 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 cuts, no ifs, no buts, no education 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 cuts. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Our education is not for profit. Bullshit, come off it. Bullshit, come off it. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them all the way. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them all the way.
TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way!
TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them.
All the way!
TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them.
All the way!
TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them. All the way. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight them.
One, two, three, four. We demand TAFE for all. 5, 6, 7, 8. We will not negotiate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We demand TAFE for all.
5, 6, 7, 8.
We will not negotiate.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We demand TAFE for all.
5, 6, 7, 8.
We will
cuts, no way. We're gonna fight it all the way. TAFE cuts, no way. We're gonna fight it.
Yes. No way. Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! What do we do? 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 Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! Is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! When TAFE is under attack! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight it all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way! TAFE cuts, no way! We're gonna fight them all the way!
Parliament? These cuts are an attack on ordinary students and working class students particularly. And we want to tell Ted Baillieu that we understand what he's talking about when he spends $1 billion on prisons and wants to cut TAFE at the same time. What he really thinks of TAFE students. Well, we're here to tell him that we're not going to take it, that we're going to continue this fight. We're going to come back larger and bigger. And we want to say that we're going to be here again and again. Okay, so obviously everyone's got the leaflet for the next meeting that we're having next week. So I think we really want to be building for this and getting out there and talking to all the students about this. Come back here on the 19th. Alright, I think everyone we should come back here on the 19th.
Hi, my name's Naomi. I'm involved in Students Against Cuts. I think what we need to do, if we're going to show you exactly what we think of his education cuts, is get more people and keep coming back here. Baillieu's an asshole. I'm going to justify that. One of the reasons he's an asshole is he's planned these cuts at the time we go into exams and we go into holidays. What an asshole. So what I propose is, next semester, we have a mass mobilisation of students from across Melbourne who march back here to Parliament and show Baillieu exactly what we think of his cuts. I propose July the 19th as a mass mobilisation of Victorian TAFE students. All those in favour? Excellent! Take it back to your campuses, take it back to your friends. We need more and more people out here to fight Baillieu, fight his cuts, and fight them all the way.
My name's Ben, I'm a member of the IWW and I'm going to be a returning student next year at RMIT hopefully. Just want to say, I'm going to keep it short this time. It's to no surprise at all that the bastards of Spring Street are wrapping up their assault on those who are not privileged enough to have been born into wealthy families and be able to access the private education system, also funded by the Victorian taxpayer, in a display that has not been seen since the destruction of the tech schools among the 350 government schools closed and 7,000 teaching jobs removed during the Kennett era. The TAFE colleges are now under attack, depriving people of much needed vocational training to enter a workforce which is ever increasingly becoming casualised with conditions under attack from employers. Not unlike the previous Labor government, it has attempted to screw the nurses of the A&F, the mental health workers of HACSU, the public service and other members of CPSU, which has seen the commencement of industrial action by the SES workers and a strike by corrections officers at Fulham Prison in Gippsland, which is run by a private company, GEO Group Incorporated, which currently owns and runs 60 prisons in the US, Canada, Cuba, South Africa, UK and of course Australia. The reason why I'm mentioning privately run prisons is because this government is hell-bent on screwing the providers of essential services from child protection to hospitals to vocational education in favour of ramping up their law and order platform with a pay increase for police officers that was higher than they even asked for, with the introduction of PSOs, armed PSOs, on train platforms, and a new potentially $500 million prison, which will most likely be privately run. A prison which will most likely accommodate people who would have benefited more from an adequately funded vocational education system and an adequately funded DHS and Department of Housing with a framework that actually helps people instead of choking them to death in paperwork, red tape and merely following their bureaucratic process. local community groups, your trade unions, student associations, any other network you may have, and keep the pressure up. The Australian Nurses Federation recently showed us that through resilience and support of the unions and broader community support during their 122-day dispute with the Baillieu government, they could bring the government to the table. We must use our online resources to our advantage to get the message out there and to get people active, because this is ultimately a fight for the future and employment of Victorians across the board. Let's get busy!
I'm teaching at TAFE on Victoria University. Just a couple of things. I don't know if it was announced earlier, there was an action of 80,000 students, a strike of 80,000 students on April 25. That was in Santiago in Chile. And there was another one on May 16 of 100,000 students going out for free education against all fees for all forms of tertiary education, not just in technical colleges but across the university system as well. That's been happening in Chile, while in Quebec there's been a 14-week-long student strike that's basically run since February and continues to run now against the Quebec government's attempt to introduce a $1,000 fee increase for all tertiary students. The students since February have been walking out of classes in a 14-week campaign of strikes. The government has not been able to get their $1,000 fee increase through, and we've heard last week the Education Minister and Deputy Premier of Quebec have both resigned in exasperation because they don't know what to do and they can't defeat the student movement. Now this is undefeated, this is ongoing, this is part of the international context in which the Baillieu government's attacking us here in Victoria. Now I know Victoria University TAFE continues till June 17. I know that Chisholm Institute continues until the end of June, so there's probably a chance to have some more actions before TAFE finishes this semester. There's been a meeting called for 3:30 today at Building 8 of RMIT, which will be a cross-campus meeting called by a number of TAFE teachers on different campuses, trying to get people together from different campuses to decide, well, where do we go to next? How can we involve both students and teachers from different campuses across the state and continue to build the campaign? So that's today after the rally at 3:30 in Building 8 of RMIT. Hope to see as many as possible of you there. Thank you.
Well, I'm here because I'm not just saying that we need to have the privilege of having access to TAFE and better education. I actually think this is a right. We have a right to access to good education. Everybody has this as a right, and we need to stand up for our rights. We don't want to just say, please, please give us money, please, please give us funding for TAFE or education as a whole. This is actually a right. We have a right to education, and if our rights are being attacked, then we should stand up and fight for them. And that's why I think it's important, not just for TAFE students to come out, not just for TAFE staff to come out who are getting their, whose programs are being attacked, but actually I think all students, all workers, everyone should be getting out on the streets and fighting against these cuts, because this is an attack on our fundamental rights. I think it's particularly disgusting when we're being asked to pay to get rid of the $300 million cuts. We're being asked to pay for that, whether by our programs being cut or by our fees being upped, when actually there is more than plenty of money going around. And I refuse to pay for the government to balance its budget, which I don't even really benefit from. I actually benefit from education programs, but they want to cut my education program to balance our budget, when in fact there's plenty of money both in the mining industries, in the baking sector, and not to mention how much money does the government spend on things like the detention centers, things like the prisons. That is shame. And instead they want me to pay more for my TAFE program? I don't think so. So I think that we need to try to get more and more people out there, whether they're students, whether they're staff, whether they're workers, whether they're unemployed. Everybody needs to stand up and say education is a right, and we're going to keep fighting until we get there. And so I think that later, I think.
Alright, thanks everyone for coming along and showing that we've got numbers here today. We're really angry at Ted Value and his cuts to TAFE. Exactly. So thanks again everyone. And remember to get out there and tell everyone about the next actions that we're going to be having.